Good morning, everyone. Good morning to our viewers, and thank you for joining us today. We've got a very special group of people here today. Marnê, Fana, Munaziri, and Herman will be joining us shortly. Also, our publisher and writer, Edna Cane Swannepoel. A very warm welcome to all of you guys, and thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you.
Okay, great, everyone. Thank you. So we're going to be speaking to each of you to learn more about you and your published book. Edna, can you just start by introducing yourself, please, and give us the name of your book?
My name is Edna Cane Swannepoel, and I'm an author. I'm also disabled. I was in a car accident in 2006 where I lost a percentage of my brain capacity. I had blurry vision. I can't see I see double vision, so I see two of everything. The doctor told me in 2008 that I must have an operation in both of my eyes. Medical aid doesn't cover it. The government does pay for it, but then it takes years. So they're going to put me on the waiting list, and then when they have space for me, then they'll operate me. He also told me that glasses won't help me. I went to go see a guy last week, Friday. He tested my eyes. He specially ordered glasses for me. So next week on, I'm getting my glasses. And that song, I Can See Clearly Now, is going to have an absolute new meaning. But I started writing when I was 17 years old. That was 22 years ago. And that was my biggest dream, to publish and write. That was my biggest dream. Then I self-published, and in 2016, I found a printer here in South Africa, and a lot of authors contacted me and told me, can I help publish them? So in 2017, I started Mecs Publishing, and I just wanted, it's an Afrikaans book though, but I want to show you this book. This is the book that I firstly published. This is a book about my life, how I lived before the accident, when I had the accident, how I met my husband, where I got my mood swings is also very bad. I get very depressed quickly. I get very angry very quickly, and I can't concentrate too long. So I didn't put too much details of my disability in this book, but that's why I wrote the second one. I published it last year. But yes, this is where Mecs Publishing started. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Edna. That was really valuable information, and we're really happy to hear about the new prospects you're going to have with your eyes and the development, and that they're finally able to help you. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's truly an inspirational story. Marnê, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your book?
Hello, my name is Marnê Kleinhans. I'm going to speak about my second book called I Am. Here it is. It is inspired by my autistic boy. It all happened when we went shopping, and the security guard could not understand why things were going on. And eventually I lost my cool and I gave him a big shout instead of telling him what's going on. And afterwards I wish that I had a book that I can hand over to the person and say, just read, leave me alone, and come when you're finished. And now I wrote that book. So when a security guard comes again, my handbag, and I will surely what's going on in my life, not only my life, but many other people's as well, living with different disabilities.
Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you, Marnê. I'm sure we all look forward to reading your book so that it can give us a better perspective and a better insight of what people with disabilities are going through and how we can also help them to move forward and make life a bit easier for them. Thank you so much. Fana, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your book?
Oh yes, my name is Fana. I'm based in Benoni, Gauteng.
in the township called Etwatwa Extension 32. And I also happen to be the senior and founding pastor of the church, Acts of the Apostles Church. I'm also a founder of a Bible school called the Africa Bible School and Evangelism School. And I'm also, which is lastly, a CEO of a small construction company, which I trust the Lord that one day it will grow. And then number 4, I'm the author of this book. As you can see, the book title is Winning the Lost for Christ. So this passion developed late, I think 2019, and this passion to write a book about winning the lost souls for Christ, winning the lost souls for Christ. Then until last year, early, I met Edna Cane Swannepoel on Facebook. And then I started inquiring a lot about her to help me write a book. And I think before the lockdown, and then is when I cut the communication with Edna. But immediately just after the lockdown, I think level 2, if I'm not mistaken, level 2 or 3, I don't remember quite well. Then I said to Edna, I'm Fana and I haven't forgotten about writing a book. Please don't forget that I'm still there for you. It's just I'm still trying to raise some funds. Then that's where it all started until today. And after this book was published last year in December, I think it was mid-December, yes, and I'm in the process of writing a second book with my wife. Of course, the wife put a lot of contribution to this book for it to come out. And number 2, the book is not about financial gain, but the book is about winning the lost for Christ, or helping people to find a personal relationship with God, which is my passion, to preach the gospel from time to time at schools, prison, hospitals, which is a street outreach as well. And I also do the preaching to the churches when they need me to go there and preach the gospel. I do so free of charge, of course, with a little offering. Because preaching the gospel is free, but one needs resources, which one of those resources is funded to take the gospel to people.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Fana. It's really great to see the passion that you have for the Lord and that's within your heart is flowing through to your books, and it will also flow through to your readers. That's really great to see. Thank you for sharing your inspirational story with us. Munaziri?
Oh, yes.
Thank you so much. My apologies for my environment. It's a bit dark. We are having an electricity problem, but I'm the author of the book, The Great South Africa. And by birth, I'm a Zimbabwean. I'm currently in South Africa as a visitor. Fortunately, I thank God that I met Edna Swannepoel on Facebook. And it took me about 6 to 7 months when I was communicating with her. She was mentoring me, telling me, you do this and this and this, asking me questions. How far have you done? She would tell me, do this and this. And finally, my book was published in December. The book is about South Africa, the past life, the current life, and the future life. It is all based on Christian faith, even though I focused more on South Africa. And I wrote about Nelson Mandela. I wrote about teaching the kids on how to focus on education and about their future. I've also taught the people in South Africa that unity is the only thing that can make you grow your economy and your social life. I've also indicated in the book that when people fear God, everything will go well, because myself, I'm also a philanthropist, I'm also a pastor, I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ, and my book is on Amazon and some other local bookstores, though I'm still working on that with the help of Edna. And I've also written some books which were already taken by a publisher in USA, Jesus Christ, the Sinner's Only Savior, Prayers That Are Answered, Deep Revelation of Dreams. By the way, I'm also a gifted dream interpreter. So basically, that is what I've written about my book, The Great South Africa. And the response is good. The response is so well. I've also indicated about gender-based violence, which was going so high in South Africa. So I was educating people on how to stop that. Thank you so much.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you, Munaziri. It's very interesting to see the interesting topics that you've touched upon and everything that we'll be able to learn in your book. So readers, it sounds like a very interesting book. Thank you, Munaziri. Herman, thank you for joining us. Can you give us a little bit of an introduction and tell us something interesting about your book?
Thank you so much. And sorry for the network fail at the site. My name is Herman Tema. I'm an author. I'm also a playwright and also a theater maker. This is my second adult novel. My book revolves, it's a love story, it's a romance, and it revolves around love, whereby there are some friends who organized a get-together, whereby some of them came with their partners, and whereas some of them just came alone. And there's this lady who met a lifetime partner there at the event. So they met and fell for each other, even though this love did not convince this lady. So she was just worried that how can a man from nowhere just propose and fell in love with her just like that, like on the first date. So she took some time to believe that the man was indeed looking for love, and he was actually prepared to stay. So it was not an easy task for the man to trust in her. So this book is available also on Bargain Books, also at exclusive bookstores international, also available on ebook, and also at CNA.
Wow, thank you so much, Herman. Sure, that sounds like a very, very interesting love story and something I would personally also want to read. And you know, the thing that I like about all of you guys are that each and every one of you touches a specific point and a specific subject that are also very important to each and every one of us. Something that we can use not only to look at our everyday lives ourselves, but something important that each and every reader can actually learn and take away from your books. And that is something that's really interesting, and why I was so excited to speak to all of you, because you have something in your books that each of us can learn from. So, and I'm glad that each and every one of you took this journey with Edna. The way that you said she helped you, the way that she supported you, that's really wonderful and that's really great. Okay. Thank you for that introduction, everyone. It was really nice learning more about you as writers and the experience that you had. Edna, would you like to read a little piece about your book to our viewers?
I can't read out of the book because the book is Afrikaans, but I can tell you, I can give you the blurb of the book. This was the book that I just wrote after my accident. After an almost fatal car accident and a year of intensive therapy, Edna Cane Swannepoel began writing in all seriousness. An incomplete book which had been in a drawer for several years took shape as Edna's life healed again. The result of this was Goodbye to Yesterday, a fictionalized autobiography about the author. It is widely known that writing has therapeutic value, and Edna is a walking example of this. After the successful completion of publication of Goodbye to Yesterday, she built on this and several other books came out of her pen. What makes Goodbye to Yesterday so unique is the fact that who was once infamous as the Tequila Queen of Pretoria virtually had to learn from scratch to become human again. The accident robbed her of everything but her life. But she had to lose 10% of brain function and with lifelong eye problems and end up being able to get her life back to be happy. Goodbye to Yesterday is a remarkable story of growth and develop. Grow because it tells the story of a self-centered young woman who makes infinitely many mistakes for the sake of popularity and money. And develop because this very young woman, after her accident past, finally had to leave behind to be able to enjoy the happiness she so longed for to find.
Wow, thank you, Edna. Sure, that is really deep, and that really gives you something to think about. That is something I would personally want to go and read and experience the journey with you as well as the character in your book. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And something that I would just like to share with you guys, all of you guys are very passionate writers. I can see that, and I would love to go on the journey with you in the books that you've written. All of you guys have given us something to think about in your books. The themes and the genres of your book all carry a very powerful message, and it really changes our perspective as readers on how we look at certain things, how we approach people around us, and I'm sure there are people who can testify of the impact of the way that your book have changed their lives. And Marnê, you I know can personally testify of this as well. Can you give us a few interesting facts about yourself or about the books that you've written?
Interesting facts about the book called I Am. First of all, it's not just me that's written the book. There's other contributors as well, and 3 of them are not from Africa. Them from Malaysia, them then of course in London. Because if you're a disabled person or if you're influenced by a disability, it feels like you're the only one on earth. Like, for instance, me now, when I have the cat on my head, it feels like I'm the only one living with that situation. But meanwhile, in London or in the US or in Malaysia, for instance, there's other people with exactly the same circumstances than me and you. And that's what I wanted to portray. Even then, like, you feel you're the only one living with all of these problems and all of these abnormalities. Like, not even your own country, there's also people that has the same problems and mostly the same feelings as you. And then, because many people with disabilities are not able to talk, I gave those people a voice. Like, there's this little boy, Mr. E, we call him Mr. E, and he has cerebral palsy. And he can't talk, but in the piece I wrote, we gave him a voice. And he spoke out of his mouth. All the stories that explains different disabilities explains through their voices. It's in a language that they would speak, like a 2-year-old in their vocabulary and their way of speaking. And then there is, like, for instance, because the spectrum of being influenced with a disability is so wide and far, I went as far as telling the story of the dog living with a disability and how she experiences stuff. And because I know this dog of my heart and my soul, I climbed into her skin and I told her a story how she lives for every day. So it's like a bird's eye view, walk a mile in my shoe type of thing. Not only the persons living with the disability, but also the people influenced by it. And then another fact about the book is it's an interactive book. Because, say, for instance, autism and cerebral palsy and all the conditions, not every person living with this condition has the same symptoms. Not all of them has the same feeling. So if I want to give the book to you, there's a space at each condition to write in. And then before I give the book to you, I can say, let's write down, listen here, my child's name is this, and he is also experiencing this and this emotions and this symptoms. So it does not specify certain symptoms. you can basically get to know the child or the person influenced by this disability through the book. And there's enough space for you to write. So it tries to explain the disabilities and everyone living with it.
Wow, that's wonderful. Thank you, Marnê. I really look forward to reading that book, and I really look forward to seeing the world through the eyes of a person with disability, and also seeing how we can help them improve and how we can help them make life a little bit better for them. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm sure all of our readers and all of our viewers will be able to learn something from it as well. Now, Herman, would you please read us a little piece of your book? Your book sounds very interesting and your book sounds very fascinating. And me, myself, I'm personally someone who loves romance stories, so I can't wait to hear it.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity. The name of my book is Eyes in the Dark. As I mentioned earlier on, it's about love at first sight. And this lady has been looking for love for some time, but now she's about to. It was not easy to try the very first time. So on page 8 here, it says, Michelle Sebutsemelo looked through the Indian doors at the winter-blighted patio lit for the occasion by strategically placed spotlights. The lights bathed handsome lit-up tubed hemlocks that needed only the blessing of snow to be seasonally correct. It almost makes you doubt Flora Park Dam, doesn't it? Said a deep voice just behind her. Surprised, Michelle turned and looked up into an unfamiliar shadowed face. She almost smiled, thinking that from what she could immediately see, Tabo and Helen had outdone themselves this time. He was well over 6 feet tall, lean, with broad shoulders and a handsome full mustache that wasn't droppy off or affectedly carried at the ends. Westenbeck doesn't always have a white Christmas, she admitted, but Mangweng usually tries not to disappoint. We still have a few days yet. Only 2 days after Christmas Eve. It doesn't count. She laughed and automatically started to sip from her glass, forgetting it was empty. He took it from her. Let me get you another. White wine, thank you. As the stranger turned away, Henry Chabalala came into the room from the other door. Oh, good, he said, bustling over to Michelle.
Wow, that is so beautiful, Herman. That is a really great foretaste of your book. And readers, go out there, get Herman's book. It's going to be very great. I can tell already. So guys, thank you so much for sharing this with us. It's been a really great time that I've had with you.
Thank you.
And it's really great to see the passion that you guys have for writing and the message that you want to get out there to your readers. Not just for yourself, but also the way that you're going to touch the lives of each and every reader out there. Thank you so much, guys. It was really great speaking to you, and we will definitely make some time to speak to you guys again in the future.
Eric Tron is also a disabled person, and he has no arms, but he's the artist of this beautiful painting on the front gallery. You can see at the back as well. There is the painting. So yes, it's the book is published and edited by a disabled person, Edna Cane Swannepoel. It is written by a mother of a disabled person, and of course the painting on the front cover is thanks to another disabled person, Tron, a very talented mouth artist.
Wow, that
This
is
was so.
wow, that is
Nicholas is inspired a book is quickly showing you the painting.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Marnê. That is something really sweet and very special. And readers, go out there, get Marnê and Edna and Herman's books, because all of them has something really exciting to share with you. and they would love to share all of the views and everything from the people involved in their books as well. Thank you so much, everyone. So Fana, thanks again for joining us. As a writer, what would you like your readers to experience, and what impression would you want them to take away with them when they leave after they've read your book?
Yeah, an experience I would like to give my readers after they read my book is to know Christ, and make him known to others. Number 2 is to love Christ and share his love with others. Yes, that's it. Because as an author of this book, I also happen to be an evangelist. As I told you my experience before, that I have a passion to win the lost souls for Christ. It is the prayer of my heart. It is the daily prayer of my heart that everyone they can come to know Christ, love him, and share his love with others. Whether you are black or white or colored or Indian, everyone to know Christ as their Lord and Savior. Yes.
That's wonderful. That's very great, Fana, and that's a very powerful message to share with the world.
I wanted to share a scripture which qualifies my statement, which is found in the Gospel according to John, chapter 1, verse 12. It's a very small verse. It reads as follows. John 1:12. It says here, yet to all who did receive him, and to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become the children of God. It's one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible.
That's wonderful. That's one of my favorites as well. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Fana. Fana, would you like to share a little piece of your book with us as well, so that the readers can get a full taste of what the message is that you want to bring over to them?
Yes, my book, by the way, is divided into sections, 3 sections, section A, B, and C. This one is under section A, is found from this book, is found on page 9, and it talks about sin enters the perfect world. Or let me read quickly for you. In the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verses 7, it reads as follows. And the eyes of them both were open, meaning after they have entered into sin or after they have committed a sin. And they knew that they were naked. When Adam and Eve disobeyed God, they immediately became ashamed of their bodies and wanted to hide. It continues to say, ever since human beings have been hiding from each other and God. Number 1, sin, disobedience, rebellion brought death and destruction to the world, in this world in which we are living. By free choice, humanity chose to separate himself from the Creator, which is God. This was not God's plan. People suffer for one reason. They have chosen to ignore God's principles and commandments in his word, which is the Bible, and everything has gone wrong as a result. I will stop there.
Thank you so much, Fana. That is really a powerful message, and I'm sure our viewers will agree. Thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. And Edna, just the last word, can you please tell our viewers where they can find all of your books?
The books is available at Bargain Books, Exclusive Books, and CNA. And if they don't have stock, then just ask them to order. And then the readers must just mention Mecs Publishing and which author they want. And then they can just order from me.
Okay,
And then, then the store will let the reader know when the book has arrived.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you, Edna. Thank you, Marnê. Thank you, Herman. And thank you, Fana. It was a real honor speaking to you today. And thank you for sharing your knowledge, everything with us as viewers. And I'm pretty sure in the future we will meet again. Thank you so much.